Adam, welcome in. We've got yourself in to chat for what a good kind of 10, 15 minutes here around your story, your journey with us, kind of why you started, why you're still here, what the goals are for the future. I'm probably going to take more of a backseat role, and you can have the mic for the majority of this. And I'll start off with just asking you to kind of introduce yourself, less about kind of why you joined and just kind of a bit about you, and then we can move into more coaching related stuff.
Yeah, sweet. So my name's Adam. I'm 36. I'm English, obviously, but I live in Sydney. I've been in Sydney now for just 8 years. And yeah, I work as a recruitment consultant. I live on my own, basically in the city here. I've kind of had a bit of a on-off fitness journey throughout my whole 20s and like my 30s. And yeah, I've been with you for about 8 months.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was roughly around that time, but I was like surprised at how quickly that time has gone here
Yeah,
as well. It's crazy.
yeah, it's mad.
So before, like 8 months ago, then, because that would have taken us back to Feb, March time. Even the years prior, you mentioned to me when we first had our initial call that you'd always kind of been into fitness from your early 20s. Like, what, did your health and fitness look like before starting something with us? And, maybe we focus on that now instead of how has it changed over time, over the last 8 months. But yeah, what was it like before?
Probably throughout my 20s, it was very on and off and really no serious kind of fitness in that respect. I did have a PT for a bit in my 20s and like was a member of the gym in the UK, but really never had any structure to anything I did. Okay, when I had the PT, I did, but probably didn't follow it much. I mean, I was very unhealthy in my 20s in terms of
Hmm.
diet wise. I still party, but I used to party a lot more in my 20s, and everything that comes with that probably meant that I just lacked the motivation really to take it seriously, and
Yeah.
not even take it seriously as in I need to be some big kind of fitness buff, but just take it seriously in the sense of being consistent and kind of seeing the benefits that it would give me. So I would see benefits, not necessarily physically, but my mental health for, you know, a couple of months, and I'd be a bit consistent. But then being in my 20s, I'd be like, nah, I can't be bothered anymore. I want to go party
Yeah.
and I'm tired and I want to go to bed late and all that. So I just think it was there in my life. I knew a bit about fitness. I knew kind of a little bit about nutrition, but it was never, I never gave it the focus. It was never at the top of the list like brushing your teeth. It was just,
Yeah.
it was there, and I'd kind of touch it when I wanted to, type thing.
Yeah. Before we go into kind of, yeah, what it's been like over the last 8 months as well, I'm really curious to focus on the aspects around, that party, that lifestyle that you used to have in your 20s, and, talking around how it's been still, managing to have like a social life, like as a side project, you are, not just a recruitment consultant, you are also a DJ as well. That's your little side gig, and that
Don't
means that
ever
you are
introduce
still,
that. I don't ever
yeah.
say, hey, I'm a DJ, but yeah.
That like that means you're still out and about. You're still having nights where you're getting a few hours of sleep and the routine's disrupted, and there are definitely nights when you're out partying, right? So maybe let's focus on the sustainability around it, because that's it. We don't want this to just be your entire life, like, and it doesn't feel like you can't have anything else or do anything else or live life basically outside of this kind of fitness bubble. So how's that interaction actually been over the last 8 months in particular?
Look, to be honest, there's definitely been moments throughout the 8 months where I've struggled with the
Yeah.
balance. And I don't know whether we'll talk about this more. I've got ADHD, so there's kind of been points where that's interrupted things as well. But I think one of the reasons genuinely that I've managed to stay pretty focused for the last 8 months is not even focused, because that does make it sound like it's kind of some thing that I'm having to focus on every day, and it's not. But
I
I
get
think
that.
the reason I've managed to be consistent, on mostly consistent, I'll say, is probably the length of my workouts. Which I don't know if that's a shitty answer or not, but like it's true. Like I think, and we spoke about this right at the beginning. I remember I did the first couple of workouts that you set me. And actually, my workout's not changed very much. I know we've made some adjustments and there's a couple of extra things there, but it's generally stayed pretty much the same. So two things there, not just the length, like I'm not in the gym for hours and I don't feel like I need to be in the gym for hours, but also, and I don't know whether this is just me and ADHD, but actually just knowing what I'm doing when I get in the gym. I know exactly that I'm going to the bench to do my chest press when I get in there. And then I'm doing my tries and my buys. And then I know I'm going to go do my back. Like I just know the routine. And that for me makes the gym feel easier. And to be honest, before I started working with you, I could have written myself a plan. I would have known probably what I was going to do in the gym, but it would have been too long. It had been too cumbersome. I'd have been spending too long in there, and I would have just fallen off the wagon because I'd have gone, I
Yeah.
can't bother to do this.
Yeah.
So I think length and structure are just the two things that have really helped the fitness, the actual workout side of stuff for me to be consistent.
That makes sense, and it's a motto I love to say, which is like simple is easy, easy is adherent, and adherent is consistent, right? At the end of the day, and that's where we get results from. Is like just sticking in the fight, essentially, like it should be a fight. Like it shouldn't be hard, but it
No,
it, it is made so hard. So what I'm interested in as well, and to circle back, is before this you were working with a PT. I'm interested in how a lot of people that potentially are watching this video that, potentially will come and speak to me after this, they're currently with a PT or they've been working with a PT in the past, and they're really interested in how online coaching kind of compares. And I'm interested in your thoughts as well, considering you have been on both sides.
the PT that I had in the UK, I mean, forgive me, I know I don't look it, but I am nearly 37 and it was probably 10 or 15 years ago, so it's a while.
Yeah.
But um, he, there was nothing wrong with him specifically. He was pretty supportive. It was a nice sort of boutique gym that I was in, so I didn't feel kind of overwhelmed at the kind of size of the gym and picking up the weights and all that stuff. I didn't feel that at all. But I think it just came down to probably two things. One, my lack of engagement. And every time I kind of turned up, it was almost like I had to be there at the same time every week, or and it just might not work for me. And I might, but I'd be there, and I wouldn't want to be there because I knew I wanted to be somewhere else. And so there was probably that. And actually, I remember one time that I was training with him and pushed me so hard. Which, look, I understand you need to be pushed hard sometimes, but pushed me so hard that I vomited, and
Okay.
he wanted me to carry on, and I did, and it was just I just felt a bit like I just need to stop. Like it just
Yeah.
I don't know, and I just didn't feel like that was the right thing to do. And that kind of really changed my kind of view of being PT by him specifically, maybe.
And that's interesting. The approach that I have is so different to like most other PTs, most other online coaches, where like I'm a bit softer, I'm like more approachable. I definitely, would never push someone to the point of vomiting for one. And even if they did, I'd be like, okay, let's make sure we're never doing that again.
Yeah,
But like you said, we still need to train hard. We still need to, put in effort in the gym and make sure we're aware of how we're kind of tracking when it comes to our nutrition too. So I'm interested in your thoughts around that, like how that coaching style has been with me and your thoughts on it, and how well you've actually enjoyed that maybe softer approach to fitness and health that isn't necessarily a drill sergeant, but more like a supportive, hug around the shoulder.
yeah, no, for sure. I think the difference here is you never put stress there, but I think having the weekly catch ups and the kind of filling out of the form and knowing that I have to kind of report back, that's kind of what keeps me accountable and enables me to kind of keep showing up, because I know that I have
Yeah.
to kind of show you those results. And it's not once a month, it's weekly. I have to say, this is what I've done.
Yeah.
And I have to also recognize what I want to change, or what I've done well, and all that stuff really makes you go, well, I want to show up with something next week. So that definitely keeps me accountable. But absolutely, in terms of just your approach from a supportive in a supportive way. I mean, as you know, because we work together, there's been a few things that have kind of gone on in my life over the last 8 months, and you've always been very understanding and gone, look, let's work through that. Let's find a way to kind of manage that. If that means we now need to just reduce some of the workouts for the next couple of weeks, we can do that. You've always kind of found solutions around what might be going on in my life, which never kind of made me feel bad about it, which is for me like the perfect approach, I think.
Good, good. I want to talk around like, transformations, like how this time has been in terms of like a results point of view as well. And, talking around the logistics around the support as well, because 4 or 5 months in, you were counting your own calories. And I was just supporting you on the training aspect and the accountability aspect. And then we did, and a bit of a side, anyone that's watching this, you're probably confused. You're like, well, why is George getting someone to count their calories? Isn't his whole approach the opposite? It's like, you really felt like that was the right method for you. And I was like, that's so fine. You can continue doing that. And hey, I'll just help you with the training and the accountability. And then 4 or 5 months in, I was like, well, why don't we just give it a shot? Why don't I teach you around portion-based eating? And I think it'd be fair to say that, like, not all the progress has been made in that time, but we've really made a lot of leaps and bounds forward. I was just looking back at, the progress, particularly over that period of time, and like from since we started, this will, I think, shock you when you hear these numbers. You're 10 kilos down, like since that actual period of time, and considerably stronger in the gym as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
So we've actually gone, lower the weight and then stronger in strength, which is
yeah,
perfect. Like when we spoke 8 months ago and you were like, I was like, what's the goal? You're like body recomposition. That is the definition of that.
yeah.
So I'm interested in your thoughts on the results that you've generated, but also the approach that we've had when it comes to nutrition and food, because I think it'd be fair to say that most people come to me because of those types of struggles.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. I think calorie counting for me and weighing food was what I always knew. And again, we've talked about this. My ADHD means that structure and seeing those physical numbers and knowing what I'm putting on the plate. It's like the dopamine that my brain doesn't have as someone with ADHD. So you go, okay, great. It says on my list, I need 250 grams of this. There's 250 grams on the scale, and your brain goes, ching, like, yeah, you
Yeah.
ticked it off. And you're doing the right thing. So it's always worked for me. I mean, I say it's worked. It clearly hasn't, because I've probably seen more results in the last 8 months than previously. But I think again, you even said to me at the start, like, let's try portion based, and I said no. And you and you didn't push me. You said that's okay. But I had to come to that decision myself. Something had to kind of change in my brain to say, look, what do I need to do like differently here to want to see changes, but I want to do it, if that makes sense. So yeah, when you sort of reapproached the kind of nutrition side of stuff and said, do you want to try it and let's try portion based, that was kind of when I said, in my mind, it kind of made sense to me, and I said, yeah, let's do it. And to be honest, the transition wasn't that difficult. It
Mm.
I think what I didn't realize is that there's still an element of I can tick something off a list. I can
Yeah.
still look and say I've got 2 palms of protein. Like that's still there, and I can still tick it and go brilliant. You still get that dopamine, like the 250 grams of whatever.
Yeah.
So, but I
Yeah.
don't think I'd kind of put those two things together.
Yeah. And that's it. That's all PBE portion-based eating is. We're not, just saying, hey, eat whatever. There's the guidance and there is that general framework of, hey, like, look, we're just reverse engineering calorie counting this
Mm,
way. But
mm,
most important, we take the data away. We take the numbers away. And I think that's what people get so hooked up on
mm,
is the numbers and just being so perfect, really, when it comes to this. But with this portion-based eating approach, we necessarily can't like have that. It's like the possibilities are finite to have that level of perfection around how many grams of protein and da da da.
yeah,
Let's talk about the ADHD aspect because I'm really interested in this. There's many clients that we will support that have ADHD, and I don't have ADHD. And it's been a real learning curve, like me understanding how to coach those types of individuals as well. And maybe this isn't something I wanted to like I've had in the back of my mind before we jumped on this call, but it's been discussed quite a lot, and maybe there's people watching this with ADHD thinking, oh, this, no one gets me, I think is something that I've heard commonly as well.
yeah,
So how has that relationship been, working with someone that hasn't had ADHD? And yeah, how has the whole process been
yeah.
in your eyes there?
Yeah, good. You're very open to kind of me saying, actually, my brain don't do that. What can we do differently? Here's a suggestion from me, and you go, here's a suggestion from me, and we kind of go, okay, this could work. Let's try it. I do remember one time, I can't remember what we were talking about. Just we were texting each other. I was walking home, and you said something along the lines of, I can't remember now, but it was something about like just it wasn't just love yourself, because you absolutely didn't say that, but it was something along the lines of that, like just kind of, I think you were talking about how if you keep thinking something about yourself, like it'll come to fruition.
The manifesting,
And
the visualization aspect, positive
yeah,
self.
and I kind of said, as someone with ADHD, that's not how my brain works, and that's impossible for that to happen for me. For a neurotypical person, absolutely that's possible, but for someone with ADHD, it's not the way that my brain functions. And we talked about a few things, and I kind of laid it out in a text, and I kind of thought, oh God, I hope he doesn't think like I'm being a dick, because I'm not. Like, and you came back straight away and was like, okay, I didn't know that. Like, that's really interesting to know that that's kind of how your brain functions, and like, let me think about that. And I knew you didn't say whatever the conversation was to be like, it don't matter, just keep thinking this and it'll happen. It was very much, we were talking about something else, but it was the fact that I was able to say, actually, that's not possible for me, and this is why. And you were so open to be like, okay, I didn't realize that. Let's think about that. Like, let me think about that more and understand that. And it was that response, and that was a while after we kind of talked about my ADHD, but it was that response that I kind of went, okay, he gets, he might not understand everything, but he gets it from, like, he wants to understand and he's happy to understand. And that made me
Yeah.
feel very comfortable to be able to come back again and say, actually, no, this is not working, or what do you think about this? Or it kind of set that bar for me to go, this is okay for me to be
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah. Good. Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Yeah, no, thank
Um, one of the last questions is around, a big reason that, people are scared to make that leap is the cost factor. And, online coaching is a lot more inclusive than maybe just, an hour with a PT a few times a week. And therefore, because of that increased value, there's an increased cost attached. And I think people are quite surprised at that. They're maybe a bit hesitant on that. And I know that was actually something when we started, you were like, oh, I really have to, work this out, make sure it fits into the budget, make sure this is actually what I want to do. So maybe we talk around that, is that fear back then, and also, how that has been over time as well, and whether you feel like you've actually got the value.
I think, like, you were never salesy at all, but you did really make me think if I was making the right decision. Like, you had conversation with me at the start and said, look, if you say you don't want to do this, like, you don't want to do this, like, there's like, that's when you're not going to force me to do it. You did sort of ask the right questions to make me consider whether I was doing the right thing or not, and whether I could work it into my budget. And after that consideration, and we had a bit of back and forth and a few conversations, and I decided that it was the right decision to work it in. And look, I think at first, I'm not going to lie, you have to kind of adjust some things, and
Yeah.
understand what the priority is of I'm paying for a PT. What do I get rid of? But actually, what I've realized is, and this is genuine, the cost saving in terms of like what I've kind of got rid of, if you like, is actually been the nutrition stuff. So
Mm.
I'm saving a lot of money on just like Uber Eats, and not, I mean, I don't meal prep specifically, but I might make dinner and then have two portions and have one for lunch the next day. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of saving money like that. And to be honest, I've not even really thought about that until I've just said it
Yeah.
now. But that's
Yeah.
definitely where I save money. And don't get me wrong, like, I still order Uber Eats. Thursday night, I ate a pizza like with my friend. I was like, I'm not
Yeah.
cooking like a whole pizza, and probably one of her slices as well. Like, I do, like, I still eat Uber Eats, like, that's, but I'm in a position now where actually I don't want to eat that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I was just in the gym before I came home to do this, and like, went to the supermarket quickly and bought some bits. So I've got something to eat after we've done this, because I don't want to do that in the gym and now and be like, oh, I've got nothing to eat now and I'm going to order Uber Eats. Like, you just feel like it's a waste of the time you've just done. So yeah, like, the money side of it has been, after kind of getting used to it and it coming out my account, and kind of the cost saving element of it, like, I've not
Yeah.
really noticed it, to be fair.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's interesting is like what you said at the start was, at the start, it was like, okay, crap, this is a bit of I need to move some things around, I need to prioritize, I need to make sure I'm cutting costs here. It's like, it's good that it's a sting. because again, we want it to. We want to make it something that you pay attention to. If it was just $5 a week, you'd be like, ah, it doesn't really matter if I don't do this and this today. But that is the point. Is like unless we do the inputs, we're never going to get the outcome that we
Yeah.
were kind of looking for in the first place.
Well, it's like
Um,
anything in it. You pay to go on a vacation, and the money comes out your account, and you don't go, oh, like, I mean, you might initially, but then when you're on the vacation, you're like, okay, I'm
yeah,
having a great time. Like the money's
yeah.
worth it. Like, and when you see the
Yeah.
benefit of what you're paying for, it makes it worth it, if you like.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I love it. I think in terms of the last question that I have then would just be a typical one to end in is like, what would you say to those people that are maybe watching these videos that are, potentially a bit nervous around starting, whether it's a fear around affording it, whether it's like fear of success, whether it's, fear of failure. What would you say to those people that maybe are a bit half in, half out and on the fence?
Look, I'm never going to be inspirational speaker number one.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not me, and you know it's not. But genuine, what we'll say genuinely, a couple of things. One, in terms of money, look at what your outgoings are and really consider it. I don't know what everybody's outgoings is going to be, but look at that, talk to you, and kind of really decide if you see it as spending money every month or you see it as like investing. And I think, like, for me personally, it's been an investment. And I've said to you before, yes, I've noticed changes in my body and I'm really pleased with that. But the overriding thing for me is that the mental clarity that I have, like now I'm eating better and
Mhm.
training, is unbelievable. So I think we all probably live in a world that's pretty stressful and moves very quickly, and there's not a lot any of us can do about that. But if we can go into that world with some clarity, then this this is probably going to help that and kind of support that. So I would really consider whether it's worth it or not for you. And I would probably say it is, but that's not for me
Yeah.
to decide.
Yeah, and you're so right. That's how I say it as well. Like in calls with people, I'm like, hey, this is an investment in, the terms of money, but also like, the return that you're going to get.
Mm.
And you got to ask yourself that question is like, hey, would that actually be worth it to me if I got that outcome
Mm.
in 6, 12 months time, however long that's going on for.
Look, I said to you before as well, I wouldn't be able to have the lifestyle I have in terms of the weekends when I have to work and I'm maybe working till 2, 3 a.m. and I lose sleep and then I want to do stuff the next day. If I wasn't eating properly and training and I couldn't
Yeah,
have those couple of days off where things go a little bit awry, if I wasn't really consistent most of the other days. So
yeah,
it kind of supports you having the lifestyle you want as well, I guess.
exactly. Exactly.